Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day of changing your thinking to change your body. My guest expert today is Ellison Sutter. Hi, Ellison. How are you?
I'm good.
I like to get right to reading a little bit about our experts so that we can dive right into giving you all the best information possible for you to move one more step forward in the direction of your life. So here we go. Here's Ellison Sutter. She's the best-selling author and contemporary spiritual teacher. She is highly acclaimed for her ability to seamlessly blend spirituality and practical self-help information, making it relevant to daily life. Ellison's digital courses currently serve students in over 30 countries. She resides with her husband and 3 girls in Chicago, and we're going to find out way more than that. And you're still in the snow. I moved out from Long Island. And I'm in California, not shoveling anymore.
Having just been in Maui for 2 weeks, I'm like, what is this? Like, ooh. Ooh.
I know you certainly. Well, that's great about escaping and getting away and recharging the batteries, right? We all need that. I find that not enough people get to do that, and then savor the moments when you're in there. So I'm so glad that you had a moment to recharge with your family and reconnect with that too. So welcome to today, and I know you're going to bring a lot of information to us. You just wrote a book, right? About Accelerate Mojo book. I love that title. Yeah, it's coming out this month.
It's coming out this month. This is April, so yes.
And so what made you write that book? There's many things I want to ask you, but why did you write that book? Because I love the whole Mojo.
Well, before I tell you why I wrote it, let me tell you what it means, because I think language is sometimes interpreted differently, but accelerate means to realize something sooner. It doesn't mean work harder. Doesn't mean add more to your plate. It just means to realize it or accept it into your world sooner than you would have otherwise, meaning before you knew this.
I love that. I'm going to take a breath.
Okay.
Just on that redefinition. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So mojo also is one of those words that I think we know, but everyone's got a different definition. So mojo for me, the way I'm defining it, is that seemingly magical aspect of us, the non-physical, some people call it spirit or soul or energy, that has a direct connection to infinite intelligence source energy. So we're accelerating this already present infinite connection. And by doing that, what you said earlier was I bridged the spiritual and the physical. Mm-hmm. That's what the book is doing. It's asking us to balance these two aspects of self, the spiritual and the physical. And because I used to teach kindergarten, I'm all about simplicity. It's all about making it easy.
Nice.
So
another breath I have to take.
Another breath.
Breathe. Everybody breathe in. Seriously, those are not words that we use too often. Simple, easy. I love it. Go on.
I am not into complicated. So why did I write the book? Well, I hadn't actually intended to write the book. What I was going to do was create an online program immediately. And then by virtue of having specific experiences working with somebody else in personal development, I was facilitating somebody else's program a couple years ago. But what I found my clients were giving me as feedback was not what the program wanted to do, but what my organic purpose, I guess you want to say, is in life, which is to blend the spiritual and physical. And so the feedback the clients were giving me, they're like, I just feel better about life in general. I'm more relaxed. Anxiety is depreciating. All of these things that were not about goal setting. They were about the inner world that was happening. So that's going on. And so what I did is I blended this experience of getting feedback of what people were getting from working with me with what I needed, which were things like getting to the root cause of my emotional discomfort, dissipating anxiety when it arose, understanding the true purpose of problems and not calling them problems and not giving it lip service going, yeah, it's a lesson, but truly feeling okay about the landscape of life. Mm. And in addition to writing it for myself, I wrote it as a love letter to first my girls. I don't know if they'll ever read it. They're 10, 13, and 15. We're about to be 11. They don't really have an interest in this stuff right now. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
But it's sort of anthology of thoughts. It's a program, it's a formula, because there are 7 steps to it,
Mhm.
6 of which are inner work, 7 which is outer, that gives them, should they ever want it, a couple of things, some of the stories from my life, and then this opportunity to know that things are always working out for you, no matter what it looks like.
Mm. Oh, I
So,
love that. Many breaths we're going to take here today.
okay.
Things that you said, seriously.
Okay.
I think because that's exactly why I wanted to bring this summit to everyone, because it is about, if you change the way you think and look and give things a
Yeah.
different meaning, it changes your emotion and your physiology literally, so that you can get that can do, and knowing that things do happen for you to move
Yeah.
a step in the right direction too. You know what else I loved that I want to make mention that you said? And what I want to say to the audience too, I've been asking the audience, please tell us what you need for your support. Because right
Mhm.
there you said you started out with one thing, what you thought you wanted to bring to the world, and yet the world said, well, this is what we need from you. I
Yeah.
love that. And you
Yeah.
changed the direction to serve your audience and what people were telling you. That's what's so important about
Yeah.
getting the feedback from everyone. So I just want to encourage that, because I've been asking everybody almost every day when watching these interviews with all of these experts that are bringing such great things to the
Mhm.
table in the gift basket that I call it. Please know that we're here to serve that. It is about that calling. Everybody's got.
Well, as a teacher, which is my first, I'm an elementary teacher by trade, but it's a call and response, and it's what I do with my students in my online classes. It's where the meat of the conversation takes place. Like, you can present, this is typically a presentation, a summit is, where it's one-sided and it's dialogue, but the benefit is in the interaction that then can a student or a listener or onlooker can take into their organic life experience and make sense of it. So this is what I thrive off of, is the interaction. I'm a little nuts because I like this. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, this is what I'm doing in this lifetime, is creating what's the right word? It's beyond authenticity. It's the valuation of the connection. Like I respond, I give it my all, because that's what I'm here to do, is to create that connection between teacher and student, so that they can then take that info into organic life and make sense of it.
Make
Right?
it for their life. Absolutely.
For their life. Exactly.
And that's sometimes what, I early on recognized, I shouldn't say that. I later on recognized that I didn't trust my early child. And so, and I know that you're elementary,
Mm-hmm.
you studied elementary ed. So maybe I can pick your brain a little bit about,
Mm-hmm.
we've been talking about how paradigms or belief systems are really put in place early on, early stages, 0 to 7 years. 7 years seems to be that number. So you studied a lot of that, and I would love for you to bring to light some of that as we weave in what you do and what you bring to the world, because I think it's important for the knowledge of things, so that people know.
So let me take that one step further. Before we're born, we remember who we are, which is a source-connected entity, which is a consciousness that is pure love. Then we choose the physical experience, which is the blending of the spiritual and physical, and we kind of forget that we're these ultimate creators, these source-connected beings, and we're born into families or these, configurations of individuals and experiences, and repetition begins. A source of experience that becomes a repetitious thing. We get our parents have already established beliefs. Many of them have not reconnected with who they really are. So they're delivering to us via language and emotional resonance these communications. And because we've forgotten who we really are, we go, oh, that's the way life's supposed to be. And then we go to school, and for the past 100 years, there's been a very specific rhythm to that of, the acquisition of intellect. And we've been hammering on the idea that intellect is most important.
Right.
There's got to be a balance of the both. So you've got this infusion of, repetitions and patterns, and you yourself have forgot who you are. to a certain degree, usually between 0 and 5, we leave them alone, right? They have their imaginary friends and they have their spirit guides and they have their this and that. And we go, oh, isn't that cute? And then their bodies get bigger and we go, you can't do that anymore.
Can't be cute
It's
anymore.
not right.
Yeah.
Right? You're nuts. You have to do this,
Right.
which is what the system looks like. And sometimes parents are trying to live through their children because they didn't do what they wanted to do.
Right.
So, you know, there's all of this conditioning. However, there are many opportunities to let that go. And it's not as hard as you think it is. The belief that it's hard is a belief.
Right.
It's
Right
not
there, right in
hard.
your own self. Right.
Right? So the belief that it's going to take a long time, or the belief that you have to do it this specific way, is a belief in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to invite you to question your beliefs so that you can then regain access to who you really are, which is a person of accelerated mojo. And due to that, the experiences that you want and that you want for your children are already for the taking, right? They're ready. And so if we can just back away from the conditioned beliefs, and how do you know what the conditioned beliefs are? Listen to what you say.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Listen to what you say.
We always say, pull out the tape of what's going on in your head and read it. What am I saying to myself? Because we don't
watch what you post on social media. Watch what you email to a friend. Watch what you say to your mom. You know, I mean, like literally the evidence of what you believe is not subconscious. It's all your results, and language is a result. Emotion is a manifestation or a result. Watch how you feel. I hate my, like talking about bodies. I hate my body. I hate my health. I'll never be well. I'll always be sick. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I'm too, you know, listen to the inner voice as well as the external voice. You have all the evidence you need to know what you believe, and then invite yourself into the idea that it's not hard to change it. It's not hard.
Exactly. Change that belief. You know, I think when I recognize that my thoughts created my emotion, and then my emotion dictated my actions, and then my action,
or vice versa though, because when you look at the way life operates itself, very organically people have an emotional process, because emotion is a translation of vibration, and vibration is who we really are. It can go both ways, but be open to how it's going on any given day. Some days you feel like crap and then the thoughts take off.
Right.
Sometimes the thoughts take off and then you recognize you feel like crap and that's taking off, or vice versa, or it's a positive thing and nothing can touch you. So just be aware. None of it is right or wrong. No judgment.
Yeah. Oh, that's a hard piece.
It's not better to be one. It's not better to the other. Because when you remember who you really are, you will know that you did this for the experience, not the end result. Hallelujah.
Yeah, say hallelujah. Well, that's true, because many of the experts I've talked to, some I've talked to about nutrition. And so in that fact, to your point about feeling like crap, physiology and what you're feeding your body then triggers the cortisol or whatever stress component that now triggers the thoughts that come swimming up, and it triggers thoughts that are already there. Is that, the belief patterns, right? It's just that trigger that's there. That right there in itself. And I love the easy, I'm flipping my pen around. I'm sorry. I love the easy.
I do it too.
Yeah, I know. I love the easy way that you invite that in, because it really is. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. And I think we're so accustomed to that in our conditioning, right? The right way, the wrong way, the good, bad. I always think about that. If I weren't born to the parents that I were born to your point, I picked them. But if I was born in another country, I'd be living a whole other life. I would not have, right? And I would have a whole other different pile of belief systems and a whole other story. Exactly the story.
Yes.
So while it doesn't sound easy to switch it, well, talk a little
bit
about that.
Let me give you a story though, because if you look into dual personalities, true dual personalities.
Yes. Okay.
It's fascinating, because they have a system of beliefs, and each separate personality. Let's say one is Jane and one is Beth, and Jane has diabetes, but Beth has cancer. The minute they switch from the belief system of one to another, the entire physiology switches. one has diabetes, the other one doesn't. She has cancer. There's no sign of diabetes.
Right.
So that is the most extreme case of understanding personality essence and belief systems and how they affect our health. Most people can't wrap their mind around it, but we are telling ourselves a story
Right.
that's so familiar, we can't see it. Sometimes it sounds like when you hit 40, metabolism stops.
Right.
Not all the time.
Here it is,
Depends
it's
on who you
time.
are.
Yeah.
Right, right. And so,
Yeah.
but the majority of society buys into the belief that if you age, bone density decreases,
Mhm.
right? And then you find that one person who's stronger than an ox, who's 90, and you go, well, they're special. No, they're not.
They're different.
No, they're
I'm not that person. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That one person should tell you it's not a hard and fast rule. It's
Mm.
not.
Wow, that's so interesting. I love that you just talked about the dual personality person.
Yeah.
That makes sense because I've even heard stories about how you can see the change in the person, like you
Yes.
said, physiology. So it's interesting. And so having that look, what would be a simple way to look at or delve into, because our belief patterns are so real to us. And
Yes.
so we might, again, you might not even say, well, that's what's wrong with that, or not. It's not about what's wrong with that, but it might not be an easy thing to uncover for me to hear that. Like when I finally figured out that I didn't trust myself early on in my life,
Yeah.
and that I dragged that through my life, I asked myself finally, because all of a sudden it came to me that, why don't I trust in me? Where did that come from? And I kind of got
Right.
really quiet with did some inner child work, and I recognized when I sort of didn't look within and looked outside and asked for everybody else to give me an answer.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that obvious. So how could I simply get into delving into the beliefs, the habits, the patterns to change?
So you just start by looking for two things. What are my results? Because you have to
Right.
trust that your results are a reflection.
Yeah.
In the same way that if you look into the mirror, you cannot go to the mirror and go, smile, and push the mirror up. It's a reflection, and you intellectually understand that. You know you have to smile first, and that the exterior world is just reflecting to you what's already happened. That is results. And under results are thoughts, feelings, physiology, physical world, husband, spouse, friends, money, happiness, success. Those are all reflections. And most people go, I didn't want that. Well, no kidding. But you have to look at it for what it is and trust that it's a reflection of a current and active belief, not a belief from the past, because there isn't a past. When you start delving into the nature of time and the nature of reality, you understand there is no past or future. There is only one moment, and that moment is now. When you leave this realm outside of time and space, that's why the infinite nature of you can give you what you want right now, because it doesn't live in time and space. It lives now, which is all there is. So you've got to be willing to first understand that results are a reflection of current active belief systems, but they're not stuff that are dragged from the past. They are pulsating and active now.
Present. Yeah.
And you can change them in the next moment of now if you want to. And then time and space will be your reflector, because you can't get out of time and space, but they'll reflect back to you what is your new and active belief system. The other way you can tell is how you feel. So emotions are an indicating mechanism of your inner vibration. What does that mean? Who you are is a vibrational spiritual consciousness that exists all the time, that is always in a pure positive vibration. You are a goddess, a godlike being who is not a negative entity, but you are physical, so you have the choice, right? You have the choice to have different variances in your vibration. How do you know you feel something other than pure positive energy? There's a whole spectrum of emotion.
Right.
That's your indication of what you believe to be true for you. For example, I'm not pretty. You feel the sensation of yuck inside. That is an indication of an active belief system that's a differential from the real you, which is I'm awesome. Right? So
Mhm.
those are the two things. You gotta pay attention and be honest about how you feel. The same way you watch your gas tank and go, oh, it's on low, I'm gonna fill it up, no big deal. You don't go, oh no, life is over. My gas tank is empty. You know,
Yeah.
so you got a little anxiety. Who cares? No big deal. It's an indicating mechanism of how you were operating right now, but it means you can also change. It's not stuck in stone. So
Mhm.
again, look at your results, accept them for what they are, love them so you can move on. They're not an indication of your worthiness. Your bank account, your weight, your current state of health, your relationship is not a reflection of your worthiness.
Mm.
It's not. Okay.
Another breath. And so how do I start that though today? Recognize obvious
Yeah.
awareness that you just shared, and then shifting that. So how do I now tomorrow not have the same? Where do I start there?
You may have the same thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
shift overnight. Quantum leaps are
Right,
not
right.
possible. They are not possible. If you're depressed, the next thing you can find might be anger, and that's a step up, right? You're
Right.
not going to go be happy, skippy, go lucky tomorrow. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So just start. I talk about micro movements in my teaching. I am not a person who believes that you can go from depressed to joyful in one day. It
Right.
won't happen.
But
The
most
same way,
people want to. That's why I'm bringing it up. Most people would
great.
do 180 today.
I
Now
know.
that I heard that from you, I'm turning it around tomorrow. I
Right,
know.
because it's a misunderstanding the teachings of personal development. That's what it is.
Thank you.
It's a sales job to try to get you to buy my program because I'm going to fix you.
I'm
I'm not going to fix
yeah.
you. You're going to fix you. And how you're going to do it? Micro steps,
That's
baby steps,
baby. Micro is even better than baby.
micro steps. Right.
I like
So if
that
you're
better.
feeling depressed, you want to feel a little less depressed, right? How do you do that? Try to find something to appreciate. If you're talking about body, I like my hair. I like my toe. My pillow feels good. The sun is shining. I can move my legs today, right?
Right.
Try to align with the simple things because you're not going to get to, I rock it,
Sure.
You're
I
hating
mean,
on yourself.
I usually try to find a gratitude moment when I'm feeling like that, like things are
Mhm.
getting the better of me, and especially when I know better up here, but my
Yeah.
emotions are dictating everything. I do try to find. I take a moment to take a breath and find the gratitude in the moment, or the gratitude in my life right in that moment, in
Yeah.
that space, because that does help me shift a little bit.
Or
Just
don't shift. Don't shift. Just have a
just be
shitty
aware.
day.
Yeah.
Just have a crappy day and wake up tomorrow and try again.
Yeah.
Okay. How many of us have done that? Me.
Me, I know. Oh my God. And don't,
You
and
know?
then when you decide that you're just going to have the crappy day and you get up the next day and you're like, oh, well, that's over.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, don't berate yourself for having a bad day. Don't berate yourself for looking in the mirror and going, not there yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a practice so many people, myself included, so I don't ever, when I say so many people, like I'm out of the loop of that.
Yeah.
That's the first, it's almost a knee jerk to start,
Of course.
judging.
Yeah.
Judging it based on perhaps the belief. So tell me, because it seems to me that if we nip it in the bud early when they're being formed in the early, so if I, my kids, my grandkids, that I don't have yet, but when they come,
Yeah.
so because sometimes I say to myself, if I had only opened up my mouth to tell people what I was thinking and had been, course correction, maybe I wouldn't have these beliefs that I have. So tell us a little bit about that, how we can look at that.
So you do. Who cares? No big deal. Don't make it a big deal because the minute you make a big deal out of it, you make it a problem.
Right.
It's fine. It's no big deal. So I didn't start this stuff with my kids until they were 5, 7, and 9. That's when I started this journey. And now I said they're almost 11, 13, and 15.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a moment by moment, conversation by conversation, situation by situation, evolutionary process of learning to love the way we are in our skin, where we are with the grades, with the hair, with the talent, with the body, with what we are. It's a moment by moment. So they'll come in panic. And they haven't, outgrown the panic, ness of being human. And then they'll, first of all, I stopped talking because I stopped telling them what I thought they should think. And I let them think what they wanted to think.
Right.
And I let them realize that they have the power to organize their world in the way that they want it. But when they come to me, I just let them talk. And then I go, what's a rule of thumb? Things are always working out for me. I don't have to know how. All you need to say. And then when they go about their organic life and they come back and they tell me, excuse me about the burp, and they tell me what happened, that's when we go back over the situation and we go, okay, whether it's good or it's bad, right? It happened like this. It happened like this. Oh, I can see. When I say things are always working out for me, I don't mean it's always positive. I mean, it's the perfect organic life experience for you.
Right.
And so they can see, because words don't teach. I can't teach them anything. I can't teach viewers anything. I can't teach you anything. I can't teach my kids anything. All I can do is first live from the idea of being an example.
Correct.
And help them through language and experience see for themselves how life is actually a really cool thing, and how perspective, positive or negative, is a very individual experience based on how we're feeling. In fact, my daughter now can correlate feeling upset or anxious or, some kind of negative with the result. She makes the direct correlation on her perspective and interpretation of both herself, her body, her looks, her hair, and the experience that she's having. So I can trust as a parent, she's good. If I go on, Pass from the Earth Now, she's got her own manual to diagnose how life is happening, which doesn't mean you're always positive. It just means you understand and can I think the mastery is not learning to be positive. The mastery is learning how to know where you are compared to where you want to be and work yourself there in a way that's good to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. But see, I think the key thing that you spoke of here is that you're connected with your girls, right? You have a conversation. There's many people that are not having their conversations that need to happen, or that maybe I should say more that openness to have them come and have this healthy dialogue. I think that's sometimes it, because even in a show that I'm watching, the young girl who has a weight issue was looking at her mother asked her to get a shirt, and she looked at her mother's size, small. She opened up her shirt, it said extra large. She didn't share that with her mother. And so and then made this, boom, stuck it in the vault of the belief and didn't share that. So, I love the openness there. I think, for me, I've said this a few times, but I recognized in needing to have my self-care that I needed to pull back, and that I recognized that my job as a mother is to teach my kids to live in the world without me. So I stopped doing and let them, to your point, understand who they are. And then we counsel, we talk it out and figure out what it is that you're feeling and what the solutions that you would come up with. And it's been a great journey in that respect. What make those subconscious things and you don't talk about it?
It's not subconscious, by the way. We could talk, that's a whole nother show, but it's not subconscious. And I am the one person in the world saying that, and I'm sticking to it. And
that's okay. I love it.
It's a whole different thing. But to the people that aren't having the conversations, I would say it's okay. Do not berate yourself for doing what you are doing, because the idea that something is positive and negative is a human perspective, not a source energy perspective, right? You are having the experience that you need to have because you need to have it, right? You need to experience a sense of great disconnection from self and other in order for you, for whatever reason, because you're having it, need to have it so that you can then understand. And maybe if you're listening to this conversation, it's your awareness, because you are listening to the conversation, that there's another option, right? Love is love is love. I love you whether you're disconnected or connected. It's okay. So for the ones who are hearing this, they may say to themselves, I'll try better tomorrow. I'm going to work on me first, because our children are looking at us as examples, right? So the best thing that you can do is just work on you. And by virtue of vibrational acquiescence, they will figure it out, because they're born with their own guidance system, just like we are.
Sure.
We're not their guidance system. They have their own inner guidance system. And the best thing we can do is say, I'm going to follow mine and do the best I can. And I invite you to follow yours. And I say this having a sister who was in psychiatric rehab by the time she was 13. Trust me, I understand it's not the parental,
Right.
it's not the parent
You both had the same
creating the
parent.
life experience. We both had the same parent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, there were pretty tumultuous years there where I went down a path of self-hating, self-loathing. You know, I saw a reflection, a silence in my own parents. Does that mean it was wrong? No. I'm not going to blame them for that.
Right.
That was their own perspective on being human. I got to see it from a child looking up, and I get to choose. I don't choose that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, even that is a shift in how you're looking at things. And I think you find it hard with your girls to help them change their thinking in terms of changing their life and whatnot, or is it just that?
No, because I don't try to change their thinking.
Okay.
I don't want to change their thinking.
Right,
they have an inner guidance system that says if they're supposed to think like shit today, they're going to think like shit today.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can do is say, honey, it's not really the way it is. And I love you, because there's a very sensitive spot between parent and child, at least from my perspective. When a child is feeling downtrodden, telling them not to feel that way is a sense of judgment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't suggest to tell them not to feel a certain way.
Right. So they come to me and they're feeling whatever, a whole range of things because they're teenage girls. My perspective is that I approach it consistently the same way. Love, love, love. It's okay. It's fine. Things are always working out for me. The thing is, what happens is over time, that duration of negativity it lasts fewer and fewer moments, right? Because they condition themselves to be less self-judgmental, to be less observant of what others think and more observant of what they think. And so over time, and like this has taken 6-7 years of daily, hear me, daily, moment by moment, conversation by conversation, situation by situation, practice. I'm not perfect by any means, but what I have seen is a consistent decreasing of the duration of time that they themselves and me feel self-condemning or fearful or doubtful or lackful or limitful, because society, we're still playing in society, and there's lots of victimization and limitation, and you see it and you resonate with it, and then you go, oh, not what I want, and then you go back. All good. Don't let anyone tell you you're supposed to be positive all the time. It would be like going, let's get rid of the sensors on our hand, because they tell me when the stove is hot, but you know what? I don't want them anymore. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to burn your hand. You want your negative thinking because it's an indicating mechanism of where you're vibrating in relation to both your real self and where you want to be. You do not want to get rid of that. You just don't want to spend all your time there.
Right. It's a better way to point the compass. It helps you point your compass differently, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And from that thing we call negative comes the greatest sense of clarification, because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do.
Exactly.
You have to have relativity. You have to have it. We cannot live in a world without relativity. It doesn't exist.
No, and that makes so much sense, because that's what I've tried to turn around for myself. That, to your point, if I'm going to burn my hand there, it's not what I want. So where do I want to move in the direction of what I want? And you do need the indicators, like you said, to know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the contrast. Yeah, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have the contrast, right?
No.
Yeah, that makes. And now I'm sure everybody in the audience is going, well, duh, that makes sense, right? Because it does. And I love the softer, non-judgmental way of approaching this.
No judgment.
Yeah.
You cannot get anywhere from judgment. I'm not going to condemn anybody for doing anything that they've done, because I've done a million things that are crappy.
Oh, heck yeah. Line up, everybody. You know what I mean? I say that often.
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody thinks they're rowing a boat down a river by themselves. And I'm like, grab an oar and get in the boat. We're going together.
Yeah.
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 That's what
Life
it's
is not
about.
about perfection.
It is.
No, no, no,
And
no,
I'm
no.
glad you made the distinction about this. This summit also isn't about, positive, positive, positive. It isn't. It is about moving in the direction of the life you want to live.
Yeah.
And how do I get there? And if I don't have the contrast, I've said that often in the weight management industry, when people they've lost all their weight and then for whatever, they've gained all their weight. And I said, well,
Okay,
you have
great.
the contrast now. Which do you like better,
Right.
And they look at me like going, well, of course I don't like this. I said, okay, but that's the contrast
Okay.
telling you, like, let's move the other way because this doesn't feel right.
Right. And you're not going to move at an accelerated rate if you're just have your heels stuck in the ground and you're dragging yourself through hatred and self-condemnation.
Right.
And, it's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And have that conversation. I still have conversations with my kids. They're much older now, but, I started early with them about, just talking about what they're feeling and how they look at life. And, it's so funny, right? You've got 3 girls. I have 2 boys and a girl. They all came out of me, right? And they're all such different people. And that's the other big piece. Yeah. That whole, you're born genius. And then we just download. When I look at it as a computer, I go, that makes sense. You do the download and now we need a disk cleanup, and so we learn from life. That's all simple as that.
Right. So, and they all have their own guidance systems. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that they're involved even and why you're dedicating your Accelerate Your Mojo book in honor.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's a real effective, and I know people like tangible evidence. So my oldest one published her first book when she was 11, then she published her second when she was 13. She's learning Korean because she likes it. My middle one is playing the guitar and writes songs because she loves it. Like, this stuff is real. It works. My youngest one does cartoon drawing, and so changing your thinking. They don't come to me and go, well, this is crap and ball, wadded up in a ball and stuff, because over 5 to 6 years, what we've done is we've validated everything.
Right.
Everything has value. And so I've given them words that they've taken to heart and experimented with, that have allowed them to follow their intuitive guidance, follow their highest level of excitement. And now I don't really think they'll be burdened with the paradigms of too many negative habitual thoughts because of the way that we dialogue and the way that we allow and the way that we look at everything and go, good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you like it. If you like it, do it.
Do it. I love, and I like that the whole part of the dialogue, because I think that I always say that I birthed my teachers. I've learned so much from my children.
Yeah.
Just in the way they look at their life and what they bring to it. And
as parents, we need to shut up because our fears come out of our mouths.
Exactly.
And then if it comes out too much and they're too influential, between below 15 or 16 or 17, they're still looking to you as their source of guidance, as their source of income, as their source of everything.
Right.
If you're spewing your fears too much, well, they're going to pick them up. Right. And they're going to go, this is the way life is supposed to be because I'm looking at you and you're my God and goddess. And, you're the person I spend all my time with. And you're telling me this, it must be true because you wouldn't lie to me.
Right.
And parents aren't lying. They're just telling their fears.
And it's interesting because, my kids now, I'm not with their father, and we have 2 very different ways we look at the world and the way we parent. And so that was a little bit of a push and a pull. Again, I'm not saying right or wrong, but that was an interesting other view that they had about it. And it's interesting because my daughter will say to me now, I know certain things that I come to you for, and I know what I go to dad for,
Yeah.
And depending upon what direction and what guidance she wants. And she's very, it's not about like who's going to tell me yes, it's who's going to give me the best direction because of their belief. She already sees it. She knows what I'm about. She knows what he's about. And she knows that that's the source, who I need to get that direction from. In fact, I gave her my opinion. She says, I see dad. She goes, in my mind, I see dad behind going, oh, no.
Yeah, like,
And it was just so funny because I don't condemn any of it. I'm like, you know what? Here's what I think. You think what, and you take it and you do. So I love that. I feel
right.
like I got like a little bit of kudos on that. I really am very happy with the direction of the way I chose to
Well,
parent.
this is really important for this generation too, because they are exploring more things openly.
Wow. Yes.
Transgender, gay, lesbian, like
Wow.
you
Yes.
name it, the internet, it's technology, the climate change, like they have got more open conversation about things that are important to them than ever before.
Mm.
And they have inner guidance that's taking them in a direction that will provide solutions and happiness for all of this.
That's right.
And just because we don't believe it's the right thing as a parent doesn't matter.
Right, that's right. How many people have said
Mhm.
out of the mouths of babes, right? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
now they're looking at the world. Yeah, we've got a lot to learn from each other, even in that moment too. I could go on and all day talking to you. Thank you so much for everything, and
You're
I
welcome.
want to wish you well on your book, Accelerate Your Mojo, when it comes out, and I will certainly let everybody know because we're going to
Okay.
have everything in this daily email about how to reach you, how if people are more interested in the work that you do, because that's what I love. I love that we all bring to the table
Mhm.
what our expertise. Not everybody knows everything, so pull from
Mm.
that because it's about the support that we need here. Yeah. And so what one simple thing I said it because we have many that you gave. What one simple thing could I do today after I click out of this video to start making some changes for myself, would you say?
Make a statement to yourself, whether you write it down or you say it mentally. I'm going to grow my awareness about me.
Mm,
Just set the statement out and
right.
maybe just write it down on a piece of paper, right?
Mhm.
That's all you need to do, because when
Okay.
you've set the intention,
Put
you
it
will
out.
the things that need to happen for you to realize that statement, intention, whatever, are already set in motion. So
Mhm.
just go look for them. Look
Mm.
for the ways in which you are creating for yourself the opportunity to grow your awareness,
That's exactly
you
right.
know?
I love that. I love that. I think awareness is key. If anybody takes anything from anything, and many of us have said, just start to become aware, because then your answers will
Yeah.
come. That's great.
Mhm.
It's a simple thing to start with. And you have a free gift for the audience?
I do. So it's a free ebook that is a very, very short, brief summation of some of the concepts. And in the free ebook, there's a self-assessment, because I don't believe in wasting time. So if somebody wants to learn more about my work, the book, working with my classes or whatever, they take the self-assessment. If they check 1 or 15 of those, they're in the right spot. So there's the self-assessment in the ebook, but there's also, that goes with that, because I'm a teacher, a free introduction to Accelerate Mojo class.
Sweet.
Because what do? We go, I want that, and then we go, whoop, and we leave, and we
Forget about
never follow up.
it.
So
Right.
there's an automatic entrance into the class where you can start the conversation
Okay.
about what the steps are, you know, what do I do with them and all that other stuff. And
All
then
the
you can
questions
connect.
in your head.
Yeah, you can connect with me in the comments section and stuff like that. So that's the level of support that I want to provide
Thank you.
people who are interested in what I want to do. And all it takes is enter your name and you get kicked right into that, where you'll find the ebook and all the other stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I'll have all the links for everybody so that it's easy to do. We want
Yeah.
easy, simple, just to pull it into your life and
Yep.
start. Just decide, right? What a pleasure! What a pleasure to speak to you today, Allison. I really
Thank you.
enjoyed it,
Thank you.
and I know that there are many people out there nodding their head, knowing that they got some good information today, and an easier, simpler way of looking at what how their life is coming to them, right? Because
Yeah.
I love that intuitiveness. Well, you have a wonderful day, and I'll wish that for everyone else out there. And what I will say to our audience is, again, please let us know what resonated with you and what you're looking for more of, how we can support you, because that's why we do what we do. Yeah. So thank you so
Yep.
much, and have a
You're
wonderful day.
welcome.
Bye-bye.